The first item on the agenda is the regulatory document RegDoc 2.3.2 Accident Management as outlined in CMD 14M52 and 14M52.A. I understand that Mr. Frappier will make the presentation. Please proceed.
Thank you. Bonjour, Monsieur le Président, membres de la Commission. Merci pour m'avoir invité pour faire cette présentation. My name is Jerry Frappier. I'm the Director General of the Directorate of Assessment and Analysis here at the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. With me today are Rahul Awad, Director General of the Security and Safeguards Directorate, Brian Torrey, the Director General of Regulatory Policy Directorate, Mr. Alex Victoroff, Director of the Reactor Behavior Division, Colin Moses, Director of Regulatory Framework Division, Luc Sigouin, Director of Emergency Management Division, and many other technical specialists and licensing officers to answer any questions you may have. We're here today to request that Reg 2.3.2 Accident Management be approved for publication. If approved, this document will be used by the CNSC staff in assessing the acceptability of licensees' accident management programs. This slide shows where RegDoc 2.3.2 fits into the overall CNSC broader document framework. It is situated within the section 2.3 on operating performance. An overview of the main portion of the presentation is outlined here. The remainder of the presentation provides contextual information, explains the consultation process and outcome of that consultation before moving on to explain how the document, if approved, would be implemented. Finally, we will finish with CNSC staff's conclusions and recommendations. First, I'd like to give a little bit of an overview. To sustain CNSC's confidence in their ability to safely operate reactor facilities, licensees need to demonstrate that they have an appropriate accident management program to manage accident conditions from relatively benign accidents all the way up to severe accidents. RegDoc 2.3.2 will assist licensees to meet the CNSC expectations on developing, implementing, and validating an integrated accident management program. The document addresses accident management principles, high-level requirements, and supporting guidelines. Particular emphasis is placed on requirements that address severe accident management. This is part of the overall lessons learned from the Fukushima accident included in our Fukushima action items. The following diagram provides an overview of the key emergency management components and now how they are addressed in two documents that are going to be presented today. The first one is RegDoc 2.3.2 Accident Management, which I'm leading the presentation on, and right after you'll be discussing RegDoc 210.1 Nuclear Emergency Preparedness and Response. The pillars here represent the pillars of emergency management and give, in general, which pillars which document supports. As can be seen from the figure, accident management focuses on prevention and mitigation measures, while RegDoc 210.1 in general addresses emergency preparedness, response, and recovery. All the five pillars support the overall capability to respond to emergency situation at nuclear facilities. A different way of looking at this is, in general, the RegDoc 2.3.2 accident management focuses on operational actions associated with the reactor itself, while RegDoc 210.1 deals with actions associated with emergency response teams inside the plant and interfaces with off-site authorities. To continue with this slide provides a more detailed explanation on the subjects addressed in RegDoc 232 and RegDoc 210.1. At a high level, accident management deals with nuclear facilities off-normal events and measures to be taken to prevent an incident from escalating into a more serious event. Should an accident occur, overlapping provisions are ensured in place to minimize radiological releases, bring the accident under control, and prevent releases of radioactivity outside of the facility. Emergency preparedness and response addresses measures that need to be taken in the highly unlikely event that accident management measures are not successful and release of radioactivity cannot be ruled out. The key point of this slide is that while accident management and emergency preparedness are distinct, the two programs complement each other, support, and interact with each other. I will now like to turn the presentation over to Dr. Alex Viktorov.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President, members of the Commission. My name is Alex Viktorov. I am the Director of Reactor Behavior Division, and this division is involved in evaluation of accident management provisions at nuclear plants, and we also contributed significantly to the development of this document. Let me stress that the development of this document was not initiated due to any concerns over existing accident management programs at nuclear power plants. Prior to Fukushima accident, licensees already had robust programs in place. Such programs consist in general of emergency operating procedures for more likely events, as well as severe accident management guidelines to manage the unlikely events with core damage. In response to the Fukushima accident, licensees further strengthened their accident management provisions. Nevertheless, the CNSC Fukushima Action Plan identified an opportunity for improvement in this area by consolidating the CNSC requirements and guidance into a single document and implementing lessons learned from Fukushima with regards to multi-unit power plants, spent fuel pools, and importance of fuel oil accidents as part of Continuum. RegDoc232 provides requirements and guidance regarding development, implementation, and validation of integrated accident management programs. More specifically, the RegDoc specifies the overall goals of accident management, defines general requirements, as well as requirements for equipment and instrumentation, procedures and guidelines, and for human and operational performance. The requirements are supplemented by more extensive guidance. Thus, this document addresses recommendation 9B from the CNSC Fukushima Task Force to formulate specific requirements and supporting guidance for accident management that can be referenced in nuclear reactor license and license condition handbooks as appropriate. One of the key features of RegDoc232 is that CNSC requirements for accident management form a continuum. Through establishing common underlying principles and requirements for managing a wide spectrum of accidents, from relatively likely design basis accidents, DBAs, all the way to extremely unlikely beyond design basis accidents, or BDBAs. Previously, expectations for management of design basis accidents and BDBAs were treated almost in isolation. Nevertheless, the essential differences in requirements for management of design basis and beyond design basis accidents are acknowledged and reflected in the current document where appropriate. We note that the concept of integrated accident management is in line with the current, that is, post-Fukushima international practice. Such approach combines current good practices and recommendations from post-Fukushima studies. It incorporates all arrangements needed to manage any accident that may occur at the reactor facility. Defense in depth is an overarching safety principle and is applied to all organizational, behavioral, and design-related safety and security activities. Application of defense in depth ensures that there are overlapping safety provisions to address any, even remotely likely situation involving risk to the public and workers. And accident management is an element of the overall commitment to defense in depth. It aims to ensure availability of design provisions, materials, and trained personnel to bring any accident under control. Thus, accident management is an important component in ensuring that risks that may arise from nuclear reactor operations are appropriately low. Once implemented, RegDoc232 will further assist in establishing and maintaining operational procedures, guidelines, adequate physical capabilities, and human resources to deal with accidents. RegDoc232 went through the usual CNSC consultation process with a 60-day consultation period This was followed by additional 15 days where stakeholders could offer comments on the input provided to CNSC. Through that process, 82 comments in general in total were received. In July this year, a supplemental set of comments was received from industry, predominantly requesting that guidance for verification steps associated with design-based accidents and assessment for beyond design-based accidents be made clearer. The consultation report prepared in accordance with the CNSC process summarized all comments received during the consultation period and provide detailed CNSC staff responses. The next few slides highlight several key stakeholder comments. The predominant issue raised in public comments focused on combining design-based accidents and beyond design-based accidents into a single accident management approach. This approach was seen by some of the commenters as different from the traditional practice in treating DBAs and BDBAs separately, as not being in line with the early IA documents in which accident management focused only on beyond design or severe accidents, and thus creating a potential for confusion with respect to the effort required for implementation. CNSC staff very carefully reviewed the arguments from stakeholders. While we didn't modify the essence of the proposed integrated approach, staff explained in detail our reasoning. CNSC staff noted that international and national views on accident management are currently being updated in response to the Fukushima accident to include both DBAs and BDBAs into an integrated accident management approach. We also note that the IA guide mentioned in the comments from stakeholders is currently being revised. Thus, we believe that the approach taken in RegDoc232 is in line with international post-Fukushima practices. It's fully aligned with the CNSC Fukushima Task Force Recommendation 9B, calling for a dedicated regulatory document on accident management. It will best assist licensees in demonstrating that they have an appropriate accident management program to manage all spectrum of accidents. And it will facilitate smooth and seamless transition between accident states. Stakeholders also commented that the draft document implied that licensees would be required to develop a new set of documents for the integrated accident management program. They noted that several documents already in place in accident management manuals would amount to an integrated accident management program already. Thus, development of additional documentation from their viewpoint would result in unnecessary administrative burden without any health, safety, or security benefit. In response to the stakeholder input, CNSC staff clarified that additional integrated accident management program documentation would not be required. However, a demonstration may be needed that the existing manuals contain components to match CNSC RegDoc232 requirements. As this was not perhaps sufficiently clear in the consultation draft, the text was clarified to state that essential accident management documentation already exists at operating nuclear facilities. Further, additional feedback was received in early July this year. Industry sought additional clarification on a small number of issues, especially related to verifying information within the context of beyond design-based accidents. Draft document required licensees to verify accident management options and instrument readings, including during severe accidents. Stakeholders indicated that due to inherent uncertainties in severe accident situations, it may not be possible to meet the same verification rigor as is in case of design-based accidents. In response to this feedback, CNSC staff made additional wording changes to improve clarity and reflect the intent. We also know that the July this year comments from industry didn't question the continuum or integrated approach, but rather sought to ensure differences between the DBAs and BDBAs were clearly identified, in particular when it came to verification versus assessment activities. Thus, CNSC staff feel that modified text adequately addresses the additional input from stakeholders. The RegDoc232 accident management will, if approved by the Commission, replace the existing document RegDoc232 Severe Accident Management Programs for Nuclear Reactors, which was published in September last year. The September 2013 document was published as an interim measure to incorporate the immediate recommendation from the Fukushima Action Plan while work continued on the larger accident management project. In particular, an integrated accident management approach was developed and further guidance was added to information found in the earlier document. The September 2013 document itself superseded the guidance document G306, Severe Accident Management Programs for Nuclear Reactors, which was published in 2006. If approved by the Commission, RegDoc232 will be published on the CNSC website and made available to licensees and stakeholders in accordance with the existing practices. This regulatory document will be applied to the operating nuclear power reactors, the ECL Chalk River Laboratories National Research Universal Reactor, and any future Class 1A nuclear facilities. As part of the implementation process, licensees will be expected to perform a gap analysis of existing practices against the requirements of this document, with a view to be able to reference this regulatory document in the License Condition Handbook by December 2015. As with many other CNSC regulatory documents, a graded approach commensurate with the risk posed by a facility will be used when applying the requirements of this RegDoc. Mr. President, members of the Commission, to conclude, we believe that RegDoc232 accident management will strengthen and modernize the CNSC accident management regulatory requirements, align with the international post-Fukushima trends, will promote an integrated approach to treating accidents of various severity as part of Continuum, while maintaining distinction between the design basis and beyond design-based accidents. And it will be applied on a case-by-case, risk-informed basis. We believe it is ready for approval by the Commission and for use by CNSC and industry. CNSC staff believes that RegDoc232 accident management represents a regulatory framework improvement in providing clarity of regulatory expectations and requirements for accident management at nuclear reactor facilities in Canada. CNSC staff recommends that the Commission approve RegDoc232 for publication and use by CNSC staff in assessing the acceptability of licensee accident management programs. We thank you for your attention and remain available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you.